This past summer's Olympic Games drew some 500,000 visitors to Brazil, many of them arriving by plane from around the world. But despite the boost of foreign travelers, the airline industry as a whole will apparently receive no gold medals because of a struggling economy. In fact, for the first time in 13 years, airline sector growth is projected to shrink in 2016. That's quite a turnaround, considering that since 2003, the number of passengers transported more than tripled, from 37 million to almost 118 million last year. Data from Brazil's Civil Aviation Agency shows carriers transported about 7.5% fewer passengers in the first 8 months of this year than they did in 2015. That's a drop of about 5 million seats sold. The Brazilian Association of Airlines does not expect demand to pick up again before mid-2017. It depends on the country's recovery. For now, it's all about navigating the economic storm.
We are really cutting costs in a very strong way. In this year, we sent back to the lessors 51 airplanes. It's something like 9% of the Brazilian fleet.
Despite the drop in demand, Brazilian airlines haven't reduced their fares to try to attract more passengers. And market analysts say they can't afford to do that right now. One aviation expert points that airlines engaged in fare wars during the years of strong growth, which already greatly reduced their margins, now even tighter as the country's currency devaluation impacted operation costs.
They are in a feeble, weak position, but they will be recovering, mostly because airlines in Brazil are more and more getting together with airlines abroad, because they compensate with their external traffic, the foreign traffic, less of demand here.
It's unlikely the boom years will be back in the short term, but there is hope within the airline industry it will take off as soon as the country's economic conditions allow. Paulo Cabral, CCTV, São Paulo.